Studies Section 9, Bacon and the Methods of New Science. Introduction. Francis Bacon proposed the methods of a new science precisely to offset the negative effect of our most familiar fallibilities and least attractive character traits that impede the successful pursuit of truth. He thoroughly analyzed and commented on these foibles of human nature in a famous passage from one of his best-known works. This analysis is referred to as Bacon's 4 idols, given as the idols of the cave, idols of the tribe, idols of the theater, and idols of the marketplace. This study section shall examine the philosophy of Bacon by looking at the understanding of these idols, learning outcomes. When you have studied this section, you should be able to analyze the philosophy of Francis Bacon in relation to roles of idols in rational inquiry. A review of Bacon's idols. The idols of the cave refers to the tendency of the individual to favor his or her own intuitions and subjective experience over everyone else. The individual tends to distort observable reality in peculiar ways according to his own preferences, biases, idiosyncrasies, and personal distortions due to education, habituated conditioning, accidental circumstances, and social status. Then there are characteristics that all humans share in common, which also interrupt clarity of experience, and this Bacon called the idols of the tribe: sloth, pride, vanity, gullibility, the desire for a sense of security and control, the biological need to quell the stress of uncertainty. The idols of the theater are those preconceptions that are accrued through reading the various dogmas of philosophies and also from wrong laws of demonstration. In my judgment, all the received systems are but so many stage plays representing worlds of their own creation after an unreal and scenic fashion. The idols of the marketplace are the obscurities and vagueness of expressions that plague communication among men due to the inherent confusions of ill and unfit choice of words, which wonderfully obstruct understanding. These idols are the most troublesome of all, for men believe that their reason governs words, but it is also true that words react on the understanding, and this it is that has rendered philosophy and the sciences inactive. Bacon believed that we could overcome these liabilities of human character and human sense experience by being aware of them and consciously training the mind to systematically avoid their pitfalls. Just as an uneven mirror distorts the rays of objects according to its own figure and section, so the mind, when it receives impressions of objects through the sense, cannot be trusted to report them only, but in forming its notions mixes up its own nature with the nature of things. It is a great error to assert that the sense is the measure of things. The Great Instauration, 1620. To overcome these idols or phantoms of the mind, Bacon stressed the need to follow special disciplines and to qualify every conjecture. Bacon advised these pragmatic rules: turn away from established authority figures and dogma. Avoid consulting politically powerful experts and traditional or received wisdom. Adopt a try it and see for you approach to discovery. Rely upon first-hand investigation accumulate such systematically acquired first-person experience, and make tentatively several competing proposals on the basis of it. Strive for degrees or grades of certainty. Reject absolutist claims to inviolable knowledge. Rely ultimately in mathematical representations to ensure clarity and precision of expression. Francis Bacon did regard adherence to this regime as a virtue in itself. He was not advocating a new religion. On his conception, good science was neither detached from worldly and practical concerns nor disinterested in civil society. Rather, Bacon urged that the institutions of the new science should be broadly political and civic organs of partnership between entrepreneurs, scholars, and the ruling elite in the interest of promoting social welfare. The methods of the new science should be judged by their observable result in the advancement of social welfare. Bacon published his views about the social responsibility and obligations of theoreticians and experimentalists to assist in the good governance of society. He actively promoted self-disciplined experimental scientists as the fittest of all citizens for advising the royal court in its service to the common weal in policy making and social planning, and generally in the pursuit of development of knowledge. As an administrator and member of the royal court in various capacities, he was very explicit in his suggestions about how these civic duties should be carried out. He was the first to propose to King Charles the need for a formal organization through which industrial entrepreneurs, natural philosophers, and experimentalists could liaise. Bacon's vision inspired the founding of the Royal Society of London in 1661, 35 years after his death. In his New Atlantis, 1624, Bacon described his ideal of a society where scientists are the chief administrators controlling state policy, a utopia where political strategy is abandoned and replaced by scientific expertise. In many ways, Bacon's utopia anticipated the mannerisms and protocols of modern research institutions today and some of the ideals and norms of contemporary technocratic cultures. 1. Progress of the whole society is the goal and responsibility of the modern scientist. 2. Scientists take the role of former occult high priests in society, wearing special robes and enjoying regal transport to display their importance in public. 3. Scientific communities represent the executive decision-making agency of the state. 4. Royalty and officials come from consultations on matters of state policy. These consultations are held in secret and their results are withheld in the interest of public safety. 5. Knowledge is the private property of the research group. It is not automatically conferred to the public domain. 6. Scientists decide what result to promulgate to society at large. Study section summary. Bacon's contribution to the history of philosophy can be seen in three folds. 1. He was an early leader in the empiricist movement that would later become an important school of thought in the rational search for knowledge. 2. He was a pioneer in the attempt to systematize the scientific method. And 3. He was the founder of the modern understanding of inductive logic. All this Bacon was able to achieve by beginning with his analysis of the idols of the mind. This is the end of study section 9. Thanks for listening.